Hello students, welcome to module 5, chapter 12, which is mass storage systems. In this particular video, we will be covering the first three topics. Now, we will be discussing about magnetic disks here. Okay, so look at the structure of hard disk, which is nothing but magnetic disks. The magnetic disks have platters, that is a disk is divided into platters, just like how you have CD, right? So similarly to CDs, you'll have platters of CDs. Okay, so this is one platter. So here in this picture you have 4 platters. Clear? Okay, and for each of the platter you have a read write head. This is a read write head, and a platter is divided into tracks, just like how you have, see, for example, tracks like this, how you have tracks in the stadium. Okay, so a platter will be divided into tracks, and the track is further divided into sectors. So sector is a basic unit. Clear? Yeah. And each of the platters have a read write head. As you can see, you have 4 platters, and here there are associated 4 read write heads. Okay, now the thing is, each of the read write head will be aligned on the same track. That is, in each of the platter, the read write head will be aligned on the same track and on the same sector. Is that clear? Okay, so this is what is the structure of hard drive. You have a structure given in the textbook. That is, this is the structure that is given in the textbook. As I've discussed, this is the platter. You have 3 platters here, and there is a track shown, and the track is further divided into sectors, and each of the platter have a read write head associated, and they are attached to a arm assembly. Clear? And as you can see here, each of the read write head are aligned on the same track on each of the platters, and they're pointing on the desired sector. So this entire thing is called as a cylinder. Clear? This entire unit is called as a cylinder, on which or to which the read write head is pointing. Okay, so there are some facts with respect to magnetic disks. Okay, so magnetic disks rotated 60 to 200 times per second. Transfer rate is nothing but the amount of time is required to transfer the data from the disk to the device. Okay, that is device, I mean the computer. Coming to positioning time, here you have random access time, which is nothing but the sum of seek time and rotational latency. Seek time is nothing but the time that takes for the read write head to come to the certain track. For example, the read write head will move to and fro, okay, on the disk. Clear? Okay, on the platter. So what is the time required for the read write head to come exactly to a particular track is seek time. And rotational latencies, you know that the platters will be rotating, right? So how much time it requires for a particular sector to come under read write head is the rotational latency. So together they add to positioning time, that is random access time. So seek time is very important. Know this, guys. This is nothing but the time taken for the read write head to reach the particular track is seek time. As you all know, this kind of magnetic disks make use of magnetic fields, right? So the read write head is not supposed to touch the platter. So in case it touches, it results in an event called as head crash, which is not good. Okay, it will damage the CD. You know that disks can be removed, it can be upgraded, and disks are attached to computer by a variety of input-output buses. Some very familiar ones are ATA, SATA, USB, fiber channel. This is the fastest one, okay, and SCSI. And the this controller and the host controller communicate with each other in order to transfer the data from in and out of the device. Okay, you have one more mass storage device, which is magnetic tapes, which are not at all used these days. Yeah, so this was the first version of magnetic disc, that is magnetic disc, that is prior to magnetic discs you had magnetic tapes. Okay, this looks somewhat similar to the cassettes that you had. Okay, they had the black ribbons around them. Okay, and this was earlier used. Disadvantage is shown here. It is 1,000 times lower than disc, and it can have only up to 20 to 200 GB of typical storage. And these are some technologies that are associated with magnetic tapes. Okay, coming to the disk structure. Okay, so as you all know, we have tracks, right? Yeah, and tracks are circular in shape and they're further divided into sectors. So if you now try to cut this and then straighten it, it will look like this, right? So this is nothing but a large one-dimensional array of logical blocks. So here our logical blocks are nothing but sectors. So they are the smallest unit of transfer, okay? And they're usually 512 to 124 bytes, okay? And now, how do we number the maps? That is, this one-dimensional array of logical blocks is mapped onto the sectors sequentially. So how do we start it? See, we start by naming. See, for example, you have this track, right? Yeah, and let's assume that this is the current cylinder. Now, one of the sectors is designated as sector 0. Okay, that is the track on the that is the outermost track on the cylinder. In that, one particular sector is designated as 0, and then we carry forward the numbering in a sequential manner with respect to the tracks, and then we take the other tracks that are below this in that particular cylinder, and then move on to the other tracks that are belonging to some other cylinders. So mapping proceeds in the order through that track, and then the rest of the tracks in that particular cylinder, and then through the rest of the cylinders from the outermost to the innermost. This is how the mapping of logical blocks is done to the sectors of the disks. Okay. Okay. Now, moving further, we have disk attachment. We know that even our desktops and laptops have hard drives, yeah, and that is called as host attached storage. That is our host, which is desktop or laptop, is directly attached to this drive through some IO ports or through some IO buses. And for big organizations, we make use of these buses, which is SASI and FC. FC is used for very large enterprises. Okay, there are some facts with respect to SASC. SASC can accommodate up to 16 devices, that is storage devices. You can have magnetic disks, you can have optical disks. FC is a high speed, okay? So this is really good, but it is very, very expensive. It has really fast data transfer. FC, fiber channel. FC is fiber channel. Okay. So network attached storage. So we have seen host attached storage. Now we will see network attached storage. Okay. Now network attached storage is nothing but this is a device, NAS. Okay. NAS is a device which has an operating system in it, and it has more than minimum of 2 drives in it. If you try to search in Amazon, right, you will find that you can actually purchase NAS, which has so many hard drives in it. Okay. So we can access this NAS, which is a device, through LAN or WAN connection. That is, for example, say in a family of 4, each one wants to access a different media at a particular time. Like one would like to watch movies, other one songs, some other person browse through music. So these 3 can access the NAS, okay, through a local area network or a wide area network. They just need to type the IP address of that particular device, which is NAS, and each one can serve whatever they want to. It is from this common storage. They can share data, okay, from this common storage, which is NAS. So if it is a Unix system, so as I said, it is OS. If it is Unix, you use NFS. If it is Windows, you use CIFS, and you use some RPCs to implement this kind of network attached storage. Okay. One drawback of NAS is, see, in NAS also we have redundant. For example, as I said, if you have 4 disk drive, then multiple copies of the data will be stored among these 4 disk drives. Okay, so that is not a problem. But then what if there is a problem with respect to the connection? Then you will really not be able to connect to the NAS, right? So that is one problem. And then if the amount of storage here, that is, for example, I had only 4 disk drives and all of the data is filled filled here. So that is difficult. You can't upgrade it. Okay, that is one problem here with respect to network attached storage. So to overcome this is inexpensive, but okay, this does not cost much. Initial setup or configuration is costly, but then later on it is good, because you will not it will not consume too much of power also. That is one good thing about NAS. Okay, it's only for a family or for a small enterprise you can use a NAS, because its setup is really reasonable. But there is one more latest technology, which is storage area network. Okay, yeah, in storage area network, here this is nothing but used in very large enterprises. Okay, so we have a dedicated network called as SAN. See, in the previous one I said that NAS is nothing but it has an OS. It looks something like a file server. Okay, but here in storage we have only storage. There is no operating system associated. So this will be only disk drives, very huge amount of disk drives, and they will be connected to a network called as SAN. Okay, and this SAN will be implemented through high-speed networks using fiber channels. So this is very, very, very fast. And see here, this is client. Client will access through LAN, that is, it will access the particular server, and server will in turn access the arrays using SAN. Okay, so to the client it will appear that the server itself is having the storage on it, but actually no, server is interacting with the devices, that is storage devices, using a very high speed dedicated network called as SAN using fiber channels. See, for example, this particular drive crashes, then immediately the you will have the redundant data in the other array also. So it does not take much time to transfer it to the other arrays or to the server. It is very fast here. Okay, so the clients access the storage arrays through the server via storage area network. Okay, that is common in large storage environment and becoming more common. This is highly expensive, and they are only used in large organizations. So multiple hosts attached to multiple storage arrays. See, that is flexible. See, for example, as I said, NAS has a limited storage, right? But then in SAN, you can keep adding storage arrays to SAN. It's not a problem. Whenever you want to upgrade your storage, you can keep adding storage array connected to SAN. It does not make any difference. So the speed will still be the same. So this is a very good solution for big organizations. Okay, so this is what is storage area network. So we have covered three topics in this particular video. We will be moving on to problems in the next video, which are very important, which are called as disk scheduling algorithms. So we will discuss about it in the next video. Thank you.